Bills did a decent job limiting the Dolphins last week, but can the Giants keep the Dolphins under 70 points?
Yeah, under 70. But it's going to take some work. Because the Giants defense, I love Wink Martindale. He's a great defensive coordinator. And this is a defense I've never seen with him at the helm, and certainly not what they even were a year ago. It's a problem. You know, the New York Giants defense has been shredded this year in damn near every single quarter that they've played, maybe take out the Arizona second half. But it's been embarrassing for them, and I don't know where they suddenly get help from. You know, their secondary isn't very good. They're not getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And if you have to figure, if you're the Dolphins and you're reeling from the loss, of course, to the Bills, where you gave up 48 points on your own defense and your offense wasn't clicking, the Giants right now seem to be the right elixir for you to get back on track.
Yeah, and the problem is the Giants on offense are they've only scored 46 points, right? And on top of that,
in 4 games.
In 4 games. And so if you're the defense, you got to find a way to help your offense by getting takeaways. They have yet to do so. And on top of that, and you hit it right on the head, Wink Martindale was the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. He's used to having alphas on that side of the ball. The Giants don't have an alpha on that side of the ball. So there's nobody for him to lean on and say, go get him, fella. Right? We talk about Michael Parsons like, listen, whatever happens on the back end of this defense, I'm going to let Michael go get him. We can get a play. We can get a tackle. They don't have that. And so when you have a struggling offense and you have an offensive line that can't do anything, and on defensively, everybody's scared to tackle, he is crying that night because he's looking at Tua in this offense like, hey, man, I could disguise, I could rush, but we got nobody to make plays for us.
And, Greg, I think the other part of it, take Wink Martindale out of it for a second. You know, we saw a turnstile offensive line in the Giants last game where Danny Jones got sacked 11 times. The Dolphins' defense, we all know, is the weakness there, but more from a passing standpoint. If this is a game where, you know, if the Miami Dolphins look at the tape from last week, they're licking their fingers right now going, we're all getting sacked.
Yeah, that's what we do. You know, we turn on the tape, we see the success that other teams have had, and it's like we all start salivating. So everybody on that defensive line from Miami, they're looking like we can be that guy. I mean, we had players across the league tweeting about why can't, oh, really? You're going to hand wrap this for this team? Why couldn't you give it to us, the guys from 49ers? But when I look at this Miami offense and I look at this Giants defense, this is a fast offense. And when I look at this defense, I've watched them on tape, they look slow. Like when you watch the Dallas Cowboys, when you watch the 49ers, they are fast defenses. But this defense right here, look at the speed that they're going to be up against. You have to play fast. You have to be able to get pressure on Tua. You have to make him get the ball out of his hands, but take away those first options so you can then possibly create those turnovers and give your offense that has been laboring and is on literally hospital
here's the
beds
other problem. They've given the Giants offensive line a nickname, and they're calling them in New York right now the Oprah offensive line because you get a sack, you get a sack, you get a sack, everybody gets a sack. So the New York Giants are up against it. Let's be honest. You're 1-3. You've not played good football at all this year, but for one half against the Arizona Cardinals, you are staring 1-4 right down the gullet. And at 1-4, it's a wrap. And that's a huge disappointment for a team that won a playoff game last year.
Moving on to second in football. When you look at the red zone numbers for the Ravens, they have been excellent, and they've been rolling lately. Do they keep rolling against division rival Steelers this weekend?
Yeah, look, the Steelers' defense is obviously the strength of their team, but I mean, no one else has stopped the Baltimore Ravens' red zone offense, and it's such a great comparison between them and like the Dallas Cowboys, another team that's 3-1 that can't score in the red zone. Look, if you have 80% efficiency in the red zone, you are going to win a lot of football games. Period. Stop. Don't matter what anyone else does because you're scoring a lot of points. I'm interested in this game because we still haven't seen the Ravens offense when it's all clicking. It looks like Odell Beckham's back this week. That helps that. Zay Flowers is already a rock star. They got Mark Andrews more involved last week, had 2 touchdowns. The run game's a bit of a concern, obviously, because they lost their running back to a torn Achilles or ACL, I think it was. Achilles, earlier this year. But I can't wait to see when it's all working. And we all agreed, you guys made a good point at the start of the season, it's not all going to work week 1. It's a process because Todd Monken is new there. The offense is new. The pieces are new. But when you get to mid-October, mid-November, they should be humming, meaning they're going to be very scary. What's interesting is that here's another divisional game for them, right? They could wrap this division up very quickly if they win a game like this. The Bengals are reeling. The Browns didn't have Deshaun last week, and that's a shoulder injury, so who knows what he's going to be like throughout a long stretch of time with a bad throwing shoulder. And this team just keeps cranking out wins. Baltimore could have this thing wrapped up very quickly.
They can, but there's one Achilles heel. That's the Steelers. Steelers own Lamar Jackson. That's the problem. He fares well against the Bengals and everybody else, but when it comes to Steelers,
But how are they going to score?
What do you mean how they
Their
going to score?
offense is terrible right
because
now.
What Mike Tomlin did was pretty much go around the locker room and start shaking necks. And when you talk about this team in the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee Harris, you talk about Pickett, you talk about Pickens, you talk about some of the leaders on that offensive side of the ball, they realize they haven't lived up to the standard. And Mike Tomlin, by all accounts, have talked to everybody in that room. And I know how he does this. He goes, hey, man, damn the media, damn everything. We got to look in the mirror and we got to hold ourselves accountable. And when you turn on the tape, they're not a physical outfit. But what they can do when they're efficient is getting Pickett out of the pocket, allow him dink and dunk, take chances down the field, and allow Najee Harris to be the ball toter. Now, if he can do that, then the Steelers got a shot.
Yeah, I don't think they have a shot because I don't think their offense is any good. I don't think Pickett's any good. They can't run the ball any good. Nothing's good there. I think this is a tough spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Come Monday, are we going to start the conversation about the Lions being one of the best teams in the NFC?
I already started at their number 2 on my mountain rankings, as you guys saw earlier this week. I don't know who's criticizing Jared Goff. He was great last year, got all the flowers. He's been great this year. They're 3-1. He has a hot fiance, and it's all good with Jared Goff. He's top 5 essentially in every major passing category, and you can't name their number 2 wide receiver. They aren't household names. Ramon St. Brown, all them guys. Nobody knows who they are across America because they play in Detroit. But how about the fact that the Jared Goff Detroit Lions are not just 3-1. They're not just a top 4 team in the NFC right now. I don't think anyone would argue with me on that in the moment. They're going to win their division. And oh, by the way, when was the last time the Detroit Lions were a 10-point favorite in an NFL game like they are on Sunday?
Yeah.
This is uncharted territory for this franchise, and I'm jealous of it. I'm envious of it. I love Jared Goff. Because remember, when Jared Goff got unceremoniously shipped out of L.A. because they lost the Super Bowl. Can't win with Jared Goff,
right.
And they did win with Stafford. Everyone's like, oh, this is the end of this kid's career. He's going to go to Detroit. It's going to be a disaster. He'll become a backup, and good riddance, right? All that guy did was go to Detroit with a chip on his shoulder and prove every hater wrong.
He did, and what I would say,
and he has a hot fiance.
Is this entire unit, this entire organization has been shifted because of Dan Campbell. And we made fun of him when he first got there, and we all know his
ankle eating or whatever.
Yeah, biting kneecaps and all the things, but they have taken on the identity of their head coach. He doesn't care about the clippings. All he cares about is that the guys collectively in that locker room get it done. And that's what they've been able to do. We don't have teams, we can't go across the NFL and name teams outside of possibly the New England Patriots because of Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin in the Steelers, where it's their head coach that's the face of that team.
The star.
Like,
I got you.
Dan Campbell is why the Detroit Lions are having this type of success because of what he's brought to the table.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think there is some talk to him listening to the critics because ever since the Seahawks game, he's been a little pick happy. I think he's thrown 2 outside of the Seahawks game. So I think he does hear it. Now, the fact of the matter is they are winning. They're winning because of him.
Yep.
So I think he has a point like, listen, man, at the end of the day, things are going to happen. I gotta overcome them. But he has to be careful because watching him lately, he's taking chances he normally hasn't taken. He's a little more methodical, he's a little more patient, but he's been very aggressive as of late.
This should be an easy win though for Detroit over a bad Carolina Panthers team with Bryce Young as their quarterback. And you go to 4-1. It's Philadelphia, it's San Francisco, maybe Dallas, and Detroit, and everyone else is behind those 4 teams. I'm being told that they have not been a 10-point favorite since 2014 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a decade since they were good enough to be favored by double digits, and I think they blow Carolina out. Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.